learn civil concepts.
डियर लिसनर्स, ये वीडियो है रिटेनिंग वॉल पर और ये थोड़ी सी लेंदी होने वाली है। मैं चाहता हूँ आप इसको पूरा देखें। चलिए हम शुरू करते हैं अपना टॉपिक रिटेनिंग वॉल पे। व्हाट इज़ रिटेनिंग वॉल? फर्स्ट वी विल नो व्हाट इज़ रिटेनिंग वॉल. A retaining wall is a structure used to retain earth or other material and to maintain ground surface at different elevation on either side of it. A retaining wall are used to retain earth or other material which have the tendency to slide and repose at a particular inclination. They provide lateral support to the backfill, embankment or in order to hold them in vertical position. जैसा कि आप मॉडल में देख सकते हैं, we have two different ground levels and both the levels are usable. This is because of retaining wall, as retaining wall prevents soil from taking its natural position and makes area above and below usable. A retaining wall always have two different levels on both the sides of it. The levels on both the sides of retaining wall are always different. Components of retaining wall. The main components of retaining wall are: first is stem, second is heel slab, third is shear key, fourth is toe slab. Together, toe slab plus heel slab is called as foundation slab. जैसा कि आप मॉडल में देख सकते हैं, soil behind the stem can be coarse aggregates so that water percolates and exit via drain. The sloping perforated pipe also provided at the stem for drain. आइए अब जानते हैं types of retaining walls. The different types of retaining wall are as follows: cantilever retaining wall, gravity retaining wall, counterfort retaining wall, box culvert wall, buttress wall and bridge abutment. Cantilever retaining wall. It consists of a vertical wall, heel slab and toe slab which act as a cantilever beam and is generally used when the height of wall is up to 6 meter. As per the shape, जैसा कि आप मॉडल में देख सकते हैं, these are of three types: T-shaped with shear key, L-shaped and T-shape. Cantilever retaining wall is the most common retaining structure. The three components of its stem, toe and heel act as one-way cantilever slab. The stem acts as a vertical cantilever under lateral earth pressure. The heel acts as a vertical cantilever under the action of net weight of the retained earth. The toe acts as a cantilever under the action of net soil pressure. If there would be no reinforcement, then the deformed shape would be like this, as you can see in this model. When reinforcement is provided at the tension zone, it forms a rigid shape, as concrete is poor in bearing tension. Now we will see gravity retaining wall. The stability of this wall is maintained by its own weight, generally made up to a height of 3 meters of wall. These walls are bigger in size, usually built in stone masonry, rarely in plain concrete. As you can see in the model, first one is plain concrete, second one is stone masonry, middle one stone masonry, and third one is made from the brick. You can see these walls in remote areas where heavy stones are easily available, and these are built. Counterfort retaining wall. In this type of retaining wall, the stem and heel slab are tied together by counterfort at suitable interval. It is economical for the height above 6 meter. The supports in this wall are called counterforts connecting stem and heel slab. The counterforts are concealed in the retained earth. Also, counterforts divide the stem and heel in rectangular shape. Buttress wall. It is a modified version of counterfort retaining wall. Supports called buttresses are on the toe side connecting toe and stem. The buttresses in this buttress wall are not concealed in the retained earth. Bridge abutment. In this type of retaining wall, the top of the stem of retaining wall is braced by the deck slab of the bridge. So say the stem is fixed at the base and simply supported or partially restrained at the top. The side walls are called wing walls. Anchored retaining wall. When we have a limited space or require a thin retaining wall, this type of retaining wall is employed. Anchored retaining wall is suitable for loose soil over rocks. You can see these anchored retaining wall in hilly areas or steep where not enough space is available. These retaining walls are constructed where high retaining wall is required for structural stability. As you can see in the model, a plane is dividing a zone of a soil where right side is load zone and left side is no load zone. No load zone means there is a loose soil which has low stability. So anchor retaining wall is given here. In this the anchors are driven into the load zone so that it can support no load zone. Failure of cantilever retaining wall. The first way the cantilever wall gets deformed is by overturning. In the T-shaped retaining wall, the toe acts as a center of rotation and retaining wall will get deformed as shown in model. When the toe is not present or say it's L-shaped, then the footing base will act as center of rotation. You can see in the figure in the left side. All the lateral pressures will act as overturning forces while the weight of the wall and the soil on the heel will act as stabilizing forces. You can refer the model here. See the dotted line. Hope you understood it. The model showing red arrows downward represent stabilizing forces while other show overturning forces. The failure of cantilever retaining wall by sliding, known as sliding failure. In this type of failure, all lateral forces try to slide the wall. The resistance against the sliding is mainly provided by the friction between the base slab and soil below it. The friction force is given by nu times r, where nu is static friction coefficient between the soil and concrete and r is the resultant soil pressure. When the lateral pressures are high and the wall fails in sliding, a shear key can be provided to increase the sliding resistance. The position of the shear key is decided in such a way that the flexural reinforcement from the stem can be executed or extended straight into the shear key and can create maximum counter. Pressure generated on the shear key resists the lateral forces. Now the third kind of failure, which is known as bearing failure. The failure occurs when the soil below the wall fails in bearing pressure. The soil can bear only a certain amount of allowable pressure, which is found by geotechnical study. So the width L of the base must be adequate to distribute the vertical reaction. If the soil is not able to bear pressure, it will deform as shown in model. The dotted line shows the deformed wall due to bearing failure. Now let's look on the forces acting on a simple cantilever retaining wall. Let us assume a flat backfill with no additional load. The soil will apply lateral pressure which will vary with the depth of the soil, which means the top of the wall will bear no pressure while the bottom of the wall will bear the maximum pressure. This pressure is called the active pressure, and it actively tries to push the wall along it. The intensity of the pressure at the bottom will be found by Ka times gamma s times h. In this, h is the total height of the backfill, gamma s is the unit weight of the soil, and Ka is the active pressure coefficient based on Rankine theory and is calculated by the expression given in the model as Ka is equals to 1 minus sin phi by 1 plus sin phi. Here the angle phi is the angle of shearing resistance or the angle of repose for the soil. When the backfill is sloped, the expression changes to this, where additional angle theta is the angle of inclination of the backfill. For a granular soil such as sand, phi is 30 degrees, which makes Ka as 1 by 3. The pressure Pa will act at the centroid of the pressure intensity triangle, which is at a distance of h by 3 from the base. The value of this force will be the area of triangle, which is half times base into height. This was about the active pressure. There is one more pressure which is called as passive pressure, which acts from the toe side and helps the retaining wall. The coefficient of passive pressure Kp is calculated by the expression which comes out to be 3 for granular soil with phi of 30 degrees. This pressure is generally not included in design calculations, hence making design conservative. The next force which acts on the wall is the surcharge if considered. This is also an active pressure. The surcharge load can come from various means such as vehicular traffic or any other live loads. Let us consider this surcharge having intensity of W newtons per meter square and uniformly distributed. This pressure will act laterally on the wall with an intensity of Ka times W. The force due to this surcharge is the area of a rectangle, which is Ka times W times height. The next force which acts on the wall is from the water present behind it. This is called water pressure. This case is a bit complex, so let's simplify it slowly. When water does not have an escape route, it will get accumulated and apply pressure on the wall. Let us consider the height till which the soil is submerged in water as HW. The remaining dry soil will have a height of H minus HW, where H is the total height. The dry soil will have a unit weight of gamma S, and the submerged soil will have a unit gamma submerged. Let us make a pressure diagrams one by one. First will be the pressure from the dry soil. Let's call it PA1. This dry soil will act as a surcharge for the remaining portion of the wall. Let's call this pressure PA2. The maximum intensity of this pressure will be Ka times unit weight of dry soil times the dry soil height. You can refer the model here. Now let's talk about the submerged portion. Here the first pressure, let's call it PA3, will come from submerged soil and will have an intensity of Ka times the unit weight of submerged soil times the height of submerged portion. The water pressure in this area, let's call it PA4, will have an intensity of unit weight of water times the height of submerged portion. All the forces can be added by finding the area under them to calculate the total force acting on the wall. The water pressure can be avoided by providing proper drainage facilities like weep holes and drains. If we do not do this, it can result in building up a large amount of water pressure, which will lead to deformation of retaining wall.